About the real estate market in South Korea. Real estate prices in South Korea have been a big issue in recent years. We are going to analyze the cause of the surge and the factors of the recent decline to predict future real estate prices. Please note that it is now an economic observation and analysis result, and it is not about a specific region or city. A decline in the value of money. It is the amount of money that determines the value of money, and the change in the value of the U.S. dollar affects the value of South Korea's currency through the exchange rate. South Korea's interest rates, along with the U.S., began to fall in the second half of 2019. Maintained a low interest rate trend for 2 years, and gradually began to rise in the second half of 2021. During the low interest rate period of about 2 years, people instinctively felt that money would lose value if they didn't do something and found a place to invest. In particular, the elderly, who have already accumulated enormous wealth, would have had no choice but to choose real estate that can make money only with information, instead of difficult and dangerous investments like stocks. The real estate policy was not strong enough to prevent real estate purchases caused by speculation, and demand for speculation began to flock in the capital, Seoul, and gradually spread to the metropolitan area and planned cities. Consumer concerns. For newlyweds and single-person office workers who have to find a house, it has become difficult to buy a house, because housing prices have risen so much. People who had no plans to marry or give birth wanted to buy a house for investment, and those who had plans had to buy a house for residence. Eventually, there were people buying houses with loans at low interest rates. This demand for real estate has once again sent house prices soaring. This is similar to what it looks like on the stock market. Those who do not know the correlation between South Korea and the U.S. did not feel a sense of crisis even when the Fed vowed to raise interest rates. Even the people who bought the house because of the rising housing prices would not have found a good house to live in for the rest of their lives. Belated regret. Interest rates exceeded 3% at the end of 2022. And people who purchased homes for investment and multiple homeowners begin to feel anxious. This is because those who borrowed at variable interest rates could not sleep due to the interest burden. And multiple homeowners who had to sell could not be disposed of due to a lack of demand. However, there is nothing we can do right now. So we have no choice but to wait and see the market situation. This is the situation as of February 2023. Now let me tell you my personal outlook on real estate prices in South Korea. A prospect of real estate prices. South Korea's real estate prices have been steadily rising over the past 50 years. And the aforementioned increase is only a small part of the section. So why have prices been rising steadily for decades? It is because of population and inflation. An absolute population. It has been a long time since Korea's birth rate fell below 1. But the absolute population decline has not yet occurred. The absolute population decline will appear from 2030 and will steadily decrease thereafter. Until now, demand has steadily increased as the absolute population has increased. And according to the UN's outlook for population decline, it will proceed faster than expected due to the recent low birth rate. Of course, in the Seoul metropolitan area, where the number of single-person households is increasing, demand is expected to remain to some extent as the generation separation effect is expected to offset the absolute decrease in the population. Inflation. Another factor that determines real estate prices is inflation, since the value of money continues to decline due to inflation every year. It is difficult to simply compare real estate prices with absolute amounts. As long as the economy continues in the future, inflation will continue to occur and have a significant impact on real estate prices. Conclusion. In conclusion, if interest rates and inflation are gradually decreasing from the present, investors who will drive demand will not have to buy even at high interest costs. Therefore, it is expected that prices in the Seoul metropolitan area will maintain pre-bubble prices in the future, and in local cities, prices will fall more than before due to population decline. New towns and planned cities take a long time to build infrastructure. So I don't recommend them if you consider them for investment purposes. It's my personal opinion, so I hope you make a smart investment by referring to it. Then buy.